Before I came to the United States, I remember watching a movie about high school students in America. From that movie, I have developed a strong stereotype towards American people. Like, most of the American people are obese, or blonde cheerleaders, or not intellectuals, and they only want to date football players. Until this day, it still surprises me that I still have those stereotypes in my mind.
Hi, I'm David Kim. I was born in Seoul, South Korea, and I immigrated to the United States with my mom and my grandmother when I was about a year old. And just growing up, I think as an Asian American, especially from someone that's kind of like um, not originally born in the United States, there's a lot of stereotypes you see. Growing up, like there's a whole thing about the model minority myth. That's true to an extent because my whole life it's kind of been like, oh, you need the stereotypical like 4.0, and I understand like now why my parents wanted me to do that, just so because they thought that was like the best way for me to succeed in life. But I would definitely say that like stereotypes haven't really been a huge obstacle in growing up in the United States.
When I first came to the United States, I remember my first day in ESL class. My teacher told me and my classmates that we have to work harder in order to be equal with American students, or else we would be stuck in a minimum wage job like cleaning dishes or, becoming a janitor. And even though I didn't let that bother me, but in my mind, I thought to myself that I am a freshman in high school and I'm taking Algebra 2 honors class and also two other honor classes, while many American students are taking Algebra 1 class. So, of course, I'm gonna be successful.
So I would definitely say though that my own stereotypes about other minorities negatively impacted how I grew up and how I viewed people in the past. Because like for example, when I was growing up, my parents were like, "Oh, you don't want to hang out with like black kids because they're like all in gangs or whatever." And obviously, that's a very like negative stereotype that no one wants to have. I kind of grew up in that mindset of like not wanting or not like willing to hang out with people that aren't Asian. For example, like I would only hang out. I remember middle school. I would only hang out with Asian. So I grew up kind of like that, and then it wasn't until like I would say high school until I started challenging those myths and like why did I think like why wasn't I hanging out with other people of other races, and why am I held to a standard of like I have to be excellent, like I have to be the example for everybody else in like of my race, like why do I have to be perfect in order to be not seen negatively.
After living in the United States for a couple months, I now realize that not all American people are obese, or not all blonde cheerleaders are not intellectuals. However, those stereotypes would always be in the back of my mind. What we were taught when we were young has many impacts throughout our lives. Children are like white canvas. What we paint on the canvas reflect how we want the outcome to be. If we want to live in the world without judgment, it is very important to think about how we portray people in the media.